president has now tested negative. There you can see the president, Kira, walking out of
exactly. We see him now for the first time since isolating there in Rehoboth. He's got a mask in his hand.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Darius. Man, remember to hit that like button, subscribe, comment, set your notifications so you don't miss any new content that's being put out. Man, we are living in some incredible times. Man, you got the attempted assassination. Thank God it was a failed attempted assassination on President Trump over a week ago, almost 2 weeks ago now. Then you have a sitting senator, Sheila Jackson. She passes away about a week later. Then you have Joe Biden is basically pressured to step down from his campaign, 2024 campaign for the presidential re-election for him. And then you have Kamala Harris put in place. But Joe Biden happens to go missing or seemingly missing for several days. What, over a week? That is very interesting. Let's get into this.
Jim, I'll start with you because you wrote that. I guess it should be Pino, right? Rhymes with Rhino, Republican in name only. Pino.
I guess.
Where is he?
Because everyone calls. Look, this started out as, wow, this is really weird. By the time we got up this morning, and there was no on-camera statement, there was no taped statement, there was no radio address. It does not make any sense for both the president's doctor, 45 minutes before the announcement, puts out a statement saying the president's recovering great, blood oxygen level is what it should be, all his vitals look fine. He's doing fine. Also, you can't see him. You're not allowed to see him at all. And then Kamala Harris comes out and says, oh, he's recovering terrific, but you don't see him. We didn't even get a picture of him signing this document. So it really feels like this morning, the range of outcomes are he's got COVID and his voice is just wrecked. And you just, his voice was already kind of weak and he often would get this kind of raspy whisper. So maybe it's really just that. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario, Megan, by the way, Charlie, good to see you. This sense of like, is he conscious right now? Is he, bedridden? Does he look so sick? And the other thing in the back of my mind is like, first of all, I want to point out, so I was at the Republican convention last week.
One sec before he gets into the rest of his commentary. Did y'all not wonder about that? Joe Biden, the president of the United States, issues a statement about stepping down from his 2024 campaign potential re-election, and all he sends out is a note. And then the media starts. That was very odd. I've never seen anything in my short political career anyway, the short time in covering and watching politics. I've never seen or heard anything like that. I find it very interesting. How come on the left side of things, it's okay to do so many make some questionable decisions? Off topic a little bit, for example, the Secret Service director, she finally resigned after being grilled by both it was a bipartisan effort, but I think the reasons are definitely different. But she resigns from her position. Then you have some other people in certain positions whose character or great questionable have their great questions behind their personal values. Okay, one of Biden's cabinet or one of the people he put in a leadership position was a thief. You want to be transgender, you want to be homosexual, that's your business, okay? That's between you and your creator. But what I am saying, you and the creator, but what I am saying on this is that there are a lot of people in the Biden administration that have questionable values, and they're supposed to be representing us. Do you understand that? They work for us. We don't work for them. They work for us. Why are we permitting people with questionable values to represent us? Then when they do something wrong, don't hold them accountable. That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, back on the topic here. Biden disappears without a whimper. One of my brothers put it this way, and I'm not going to quote him verbatim, but he basically says, you got 81 million votes and you break up with me over a text? That's insane. That's insane, man.
Rational people who are not conspiracy theorists, people who are not prone to hyperbole. When the report came out, the president's got COVID, in the mainstream media, we're not, okay, he's got COVID. They're like, Do you think that's COVID? Do you think that's something else? Do you think they're using this as an excuse? That
I was
that's
thinking,
speculation.
I'm thinking it's something else personally. I don't trust it for the most part. I don't trust what this media said, this administration says. They will talk. They would say two things. They would double speak out of their mouth two things. Y'all should really read that book called 1984. It's not the only book, but and the reason being is because this administration, their policies, the things they're doing blatantly in front of us, it's like them saying in the book, the illustration is if the government says, Big Brother says 2 plus 2 is 5, they want you to be so convinced that 2 plus 2 is 5, it becomes a part of your core values just because they said so. And that's what I see happening with this administration.
Was going around not just in us crazy right winger circles, but elsewhere. And then just second, like, you know, if he's well, why can't we see him?
Right.
Why can't we hear? Why can't we get a picture of him? And then you mentioned the comment from Frank Biden. I kind of want to say, you know, we've always thought Biden was too old to serve a second term. Signs have been obvious, but I think really like this is now getting into a kind of a really chilling and unnerving tone to all of this. That we really should be seeing the president by now.
Right.
This is getting even more scandalous, Charles, because he is the sitting president. This would be bad enough if he had announced he was stepping down from his second term bid and the presidency, and we weren't seeing him. And people would have questions. Where is he? Why isn't there at least a still shot? All of that is traditional. Not for an announcement like this, but when the president's issuing a large paper statement or something, they'll often show him signing legislation. They'll just show you at least video of him. But he's the sitting commander in chief, right? He still does have the nuclear football. So where is he? And how long could they possibly keep him out of public sight?
I find it very weird too. You know me, Megan. I'm an anti-conspiracy theorist. I'm a skeptic.
I think the three of us might be the last three saying President Trump lost the 2020 election. We are very slow to jump on,
Yes, yeah.
you know, popular beliefs just because they're popular. So yes, for us three to be saying this is weird tells people something.
Now, you do need people like this who are very skeptical. The problem is you can use one's skepticism against them. So if there's blatant information, I'll tell you what, if, for example, you know what, I'm not going to get into that part. I don't want to get this video banned, but let's just say it this way. People don't listen until they have to. Just keep that in mind. In life, I've learned that, and I'm still learning that. People don't listen to wise advice. They don't listen to truth until they have to.
Right, it's weird. And President Trump did lose the 2020 election, as you say. and you throw up a conspiracy theory, and I will knock it down. But this is odd. Now, again, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. As Jim says, it could just be that he really is sick and seems feeble and doesn't want to be seen. But the thing that is particularly bizarre about this, from my perspective, is that there hasn't been anything. There hasn't been a photograph that wouldn't be affected by his voice. There hasn't even been a TikTok in not the app
Right.
of the Chinese Communist Party.
Right.
I mean, a moment-by-moment account in the newspaper of how this went down. This note was released on Twitter without his staff knowing. They were surprised by it. So all of the usual coverage that we would expect to see has been missing. And it does make you wonder. I mean, look, it is not new for the White House or the press to cover up presidents who are in dire straits.
Right.
This happened with Woodrow Wilson in the last year of his second term. It happened with Franklin Roosevelt. There's better reason for that one, I think, because we were engaged in a world war, but nevertheless, his health was covered up. Many of Kennedy's health problems, and indeed his dalliances with women who were not his wife, were covered up by the press. In Britain, Winston Churchill had a stroke and was essentially incapacitated for 6 months, and the press hid that. So it's not beyond the reasonable thoughts of reasonable people to wonder whether the White House and the press might, for 24 hours, be trying to hide Biden's condition. And I've had the same thoughts as Jim. I mean, perhaps it's that he has really bad COVID, but perhaps he's had a stroke. I mean, perhaps he's on a ventilator. It would be good to know, because this is about more than just the election. Now, the Democrats have only cared about this because of the election. The reason that he was kicked out, he's not a wonderful, selfless man. He was kicked out. Nancy Pelosi made it clear what would happen to him. The reason he was kicked out was because he was losing, and losing badly. The Midwest was gone, and he was losing in states such as New Hampshire and New Mexico and Virginia, which you just don't want to do, to Donald Trump, of all people. But he's still the president. And because he's still the president, not only does it matter, as you outlined, but actually as voters, as citizens, we do have a right to know this. We don't have a right to know the internal machinations of the Democratic Party. It's a semi-private institution. We do have a right to know whether the president is able to be photographed or filmed saying he's dropping out.
Right.
That's absolutely right. Jim points
That's
out,
not unreasonable.
in a great piece on National Review Online today as well, and our nationalreview.com. Politico's reporting the White House chief of staff, rather than Biden himself, informed the cabinet of the decision. So, I mean, he can't make phone calls? That's not what, like, is he dying of COVID? I thought Paxlovid would solve this.
So, before I go any further, I want to point out that as important as what you do, Megan, and what Charlie does, nothing we do is as important as the presidency. But if for some reason we couldn't continue doing our jobs, we would want to tell our listeners, hey, here's what's going on. And I'm sorry, I'd like to be able to continue. It's that letter had one paragraph that just said, it's best for me to focus on my duties as president right now. No explanation of this is a health issue. No explanation of my advisors have come to me and said there's no path to victory in the general election. No path that, like, it's time for me to pass it. Like it's just there. It's just two sentences in it. And I will tell you more later. And we're coming up probably by the end of this program, we'll hit 24 hours. Where not only have we not, seen the president, there's just nothing further. And I'm just saying, if you're president, wouldn't you want to tell the people? Wouldn't you want to say, my fellow Americans, it has been my greatest honor to be your president, but that time is coming to an end, and here's why. Lyndon Johnson did it from the Oval Office. Like, this is, completely weird. Just because and the other thing, I've one or two people said to me, Jim, it's the most bitter pill he's ever had to swallow, and he's so upset and he's so frustrated he just can't look at anybody, and that's why he's not doing it. Well, you're the president. Like, you can't.
This innovative toothbrush is
Sorry about that.
the $300 billion
Don't you love that?
industry.
Commercial.
This new revolutionary
Commercials. Anyway, let's
Jim
go.
froze, but we'll try to unfreeze him.
Right.
We have magical defrosting abilities, which we will.
I will say this real quick though. On that note, he's absolutely right. That doesn't make any sense that you wouldn't inform the people that you work for that your health is in jeopardy, and you want us not to be worried or concerned. We can pray for you or offer up some type of show some type of compassion and empathy for you, but for you to withhold said information, just like I believe it was the Secretary General, don't quote me on that, but I believe it was the Secretary General of the military. He did the same thing. He went and had surgery, and according to reports, he didn't even share it with the president, if I remember correctly. But he certainly didn't share it with the media, didn't share it with us. So once again, they work for us. Yes, he was hand-selected or picked by Joe Biden, but they still work for us. People in these critical positions should be communicating to us. If it's important for us as employees to report to our supervisors or our managers or our bosses that we're not going to be able to come to work for whatever the reason it is, how much more is it important that this employee, one of the most powerful position in this country, how much more important is it for him to communicate with us about the state of his health? Come on, y'all. There's something not right about this picture. And stop being afraid to address it. Because, as Mr. Anti-conspiracy theorist here says, it's okay that you don't, I'll say it this way. It's okay that you don't buy into every idea out there, especially when they do sound outlandish. However, that does not negate the fact that those may be truths that are being negated. People don't listen to until they have to. What do I mean by that? I guarantee you when some of these conspiracy theories come to the forefront and become mainstream news and it is reported as truth, some of these same voices are going to come out then and share the gospel. That's what they're going to do. Why do people have to react all the time? Why not be ahead of the curve? Why not anticipate some things ahead and talk about some things? At least introduce the question. Something's not right about this, and y'all know it. Let me know what you think in the comments, okay? Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like and set your notifications. Share this video.
Spray on Jim, and we will bring him back while we talk to Charlie. But wait, let me just point this out, Charlie. This is also from Jim's piece this morning. He's citing the news about Frank Biden, the president's younger brother, in that statement that I just read, that I just paraphrased. The actual statement is, "I'm incredibly proud of my brother." He said this to CBS News. "Selfishly, I will have him back to enjoy whatever time we have left. He's a genuine hero." Again, this is the younger brother.
Listen, y'all, that sounds so morbid, doesn't it? That sounds like the man is on his deathbed. On his deathbed. That's exactly what that sounds like. Come on now. Did you tweet it and put it out there? We should be hearing something like this from the president, from somebody in his administration. Or if his family's going to come out, they should come out in unified effort. Jill should be coming out there saying, listen, I regret to say, things have turned dire. It's more, things have turned for the worse. His health has deteriorated more than was expected, yada, yada. Nope, they won't say that. They're playing with the American people. They're doing many unconventional things in this administration.
We have left. And Jim goes on to write as follows. The president's brother was then asked whether he felt the president's overall health and vitality played a role in the decision. And he answered, in my humble opinion, absolutely. So his health, of course, did play a role. Oh, look, my defrosting abilities work on Jim the same way they work when I make the dinner in the microwave. Go ahead, Jim Garrity.
Megan, Charlie, I'm sorry. I just froze like Biden at a White House event. I just suddenly couldn't move. I guess in light of that, I really shouldn't joke about his health condition. But just kind of to wrap up my point that the fact that Biden isn't out there to tell us when you kind of figure he'd want to is another sign that something is very wrong and we're not getting told the whole story.
I agree.
So here's where I wanted to go with it, Charlie. You guys are old enough, at least Jim is, and I think you're old enough for this reference, Charlie. I've been mentioning it the past couple of days, and I finally pulled a clip. It was a movie called Dave, and it starred Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver. And the plot of Dave is that the president has a stroke and is incapacitated, and rather than being honest about that and transferring power to the vice president, his staff hires a lookalike who, also played by Kevin Kline, is a dead ringer for the actual president and convinces him it's in the best interest of the country for him to step in and pretend to be the president. Not even the first lady is let in on the secret. And I really have to wonder whether something not too far from this scene is happening right now. Watch.
Before we go to that clip, real quick, y'all. I found it interesting. I hadn't even watched this entire interview yet. I'm watching it with you. You're watching it with me. We're watching it together. And I have been a big proponent in believing that there's certain parties or certain factions. The principle is, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do before I do it. For many in the motivational speaking world, that's one of the principles they teach. For Christians, the Bible teaches, call those things which be not as though they were, or call it into being before it actually happens. Positive affirmations. I'm feeling good. I'm healthy. I'm excited. I'm going to have a great day. You do all those things before you feel it, before you see it, and before you experience it. I believe, just me personally, you believe what you want to believe. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think about what we're about to see? What do you think about what I'm saying? I believe Hollywood does that a lot. Certain factions does that a lot. They put it out there on the movie screen, on the television screen. Tell us what they're going to do long before they do it. So by the time they actually do it, you don't see the connection. Most people, I'll say it that way. Some of us catch it, and I say some of us, I hope you're a part of that us. Some of us catch it. I hope these guys catch it, because here's the question. Is this something actually playing out right before us. Oh, let me get that right there. There we go.
The reason we invited you here tonight is because something has happened to the president. It's actually kind of serious, Dave. I'm afraid the president's not in very good shape.
We'd be all right.
Oh, yeah. Probably.
I think so.
Yes.
Oh.
Dave, sometimes we need our friends and even our enemies to feel safe and secure. We need them to feel like they can go to bed at night knowing that President Mitchell is fully in control.
What about the vice president?
Vice President?
We didn't want to have to tell you this, Dave. But the vice president is mentally unbalanced.
Dave, the country is sick.
And you're going to get it to the hospital.
I mean,
Woo!
that literally could have happened on Sunday morning, as far as we know. Not with a look-alike, but the rope-a-dope, right? Where they're doing what they think is in the best interest for the country, Charlie. He's got to step aside. But we really have no idea whether he's fully functioning physically or mentally behind closed doors.
Yeah, I hope that's not happening. I have seen that movie, and it ends with them contriving the most insanely left-wing set of policies that you've ever heard of. I mean, policies that Bernie Sanders would say, wow, that's a bit far. So let's hope that we're not headed towards that conclusion. I think he gets Charles Grodin to come in and
He does the books. That's his buddy who's his accountant, and he comes in and does the White House books.
And then they
balances
realize,
the
because
budget.
of course, the budget couldn't be balanced for years by Congress or other presidents. But his accountant buddy comes in and just works it out. It's just classic Hollywood. But no, I mean, look, the other reason that it is important for this to be resolved by the White House is that there will be a lot of people out there who are irresponsible, who will start making hay of this and spreading conspiracy theories, not saying, hey, this looks a bit weird, this should be addressed, but spreading actual conspiracy theories. And we live in a real and hostile world in which there are people who wish the United States harm and wish our allies harm. And you can't have this for too long, not knowing where the president of the United States is. And I really don't say that to be mawkish. The system under which we live vests power in one person. It does not say, as many tried before Biden dropped out, that you elect as a citizen a team. A team does not stand in front of the Chief Justice and take the oath of office. A team does not sign legislation. A team is not commander-in-chief.
Some Americans enjoy using their credit cards because it
No.
can be a hassle.
I'm going to show one more little clip real quick because Joe Biden is back in the news finally, and supposed to be, today is July 24th, Wednesday, 2024, and Joe Biden is supposed to be addressing the nation. But I definitely found that clip very interesting, that the note they ended on in this clip about Dave, and is of course one of her guests. I get it once again. I do agree here. Don't go start peddling theories that you can't back up. Now, I didn't say you can't produce information that some people or many people won't believe. I said just be able to back it up. Now, here's a short clip of Joe Biden arriving back in, when I say arriving back, I mean arriving back in the media.
Saying that the president has now tested negative. There you can see the president, Kira, walking out of
Exactly. We see him now for the first time since isolating there in Rehoboth. He's got a mask in his hand. All right, let's listen for a moment. They are shouting questions. I don't know if we can hear or not. Okay, it looked like, Elizabeth, that possibly some folks there in the pool tried to, you've been in those, we've all been in those situations. Oh, wait, here we go. Let's listen. picture off, Mr. President. My guess is he probably didn't even hear it because it gets really loud when you're going up there. But here it is. That's that first image as he slowly works his way up the steps and gets onto Air Force One there, getting ready to leave Delaware to head back here to D.C. for that big speech tomorrow night. Okay, he didn't talk to reporters, but we saw him moving slowly. It'll be interesting to see how he does tomorrow night, Elizabeth.
Well, and Kira, what a moment. I mean, how much has changed?
So yeah, it was what a moment. That's understated. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, set your notifications. Again, on this channel, we talk about politics. Mostly lately, it's been politics because there's a lot of things happening. Because in my personal opinion, politics, religion, health, just relevant issues that impact all of us, to me, they're interconnected. You can always address them specifically, but they're interconnected. So I believe that we're at such a historical point in our history as a nation, as a country, that it's not just going to affect black people, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people. It's affecting all of us. So we have to really be on our P's and Q's. I think we need, as a people, need to really come together. You're talking about unity. I think we need to really come together in our ideals. No, we're not going to believe everything the same. I do not expect that. But as far as it's being a nation, there are things happening. This year, it's going to be spectacular on both sides of the aisle, negatively and positively. If you hadn't seen it already, you ain't seen nothing yet. That's my conviction. But anyway, let me know what you think. I'll talk to you later.